So in all this conversation that we've been having about family work and keeping a clean house, I want to today just step back and look at the reason why. I want to look at the purpose of a home and how family work fits into it. Hi, I'm Kenna. I help parents inspire an environment of learning in their home. I'm glad you're here. Here's the deal. We all live in our house. And what I mean by that is a house isn't meant to be just some place that stays clean all the time. A house is meant to be a place where families are nurtured and that things are able to be done and creativity can be expressed. And those things, they're more important than having a clean house. So in our conversation about family work and having a clean house, I want to share with you my perspective on the purpose of a house, the purpose of family work, the purpose of all of this home culture stuff. Now, for me, and anyone who knows me will know this is true, I do not live in a spotless house. I don't. And this whole thing is a learning curve for me, and I am better at it than I used to be at keeping my house clean, but there are still moments when I wish it was cleaner, right? I've had to really define my intentions for my home and realize why I even want a clean house and a decluttered house, right? One that allows us to find the things we need and use the things we need without searching the house, right? There are a few reasons why I feel like this is important. One is simply because I think our minds work better in a cleaner environment. I think we're able to free up brain space if we're not surrounded by clutter to spend it in other areas. I know for me, one thing is if I am surrounded by too much, and we each have our own threshold, right? My threshold for untidiness is higher than some people and lower than others. We all have our own threshold, and I have no judgment here on what your threshold is at, but you know the feeling when you cross that threshold, right? When your house is too cluttered, too messy, too much. And it does take away from my ability to do other things because it gets to that point where it's all I can see. And if I try to do other things, then it feels, I'm just not as efficient. It doesn't feel right. And so I put away that and I do clean, I pull in and we do clean it up. But everybody has that threshold. So you kind of know what that feels like, right? And I think that our children feel that too, and they might have different thresholds than we do, but I think there is something to having a clean environment, to being able to free our mind up, to spend it on other things and not worry about the things around. I think it helps us to have a place for everything so that when we want to do something, we don't have to spend the time finding it, but we can spend the time doing it, right? And so that's another reason for a clean, organized house, is just to spend the time gathering materials and then using the materials instead of spending all the time finding, right? In our house, we say organized while doing, clean up when done. So what we try to do and what we strive to do is that while we're in the middle of a project, we have our stuff, and it's okay if it's out and it's organized. And sometimes projects last in our house for days. And as long as it's not in the main places that we do a lot of things, right? As long as it's not in the way, I do allow that, as long as it's organized and we can still live around it. And of course, there has to be an expiration. If they never get back to it, right? Then maybe that expiration date is over. But to have a project going and to have it organized while doing and then clean up when done is something that works in my house, because I don't mind if things are out if they're doing a project. That's okay. I feel good about that, actually, because like I said, we really live in our house. We really do. And there's a lot that goes on here, and I love that. That's one of our purposes for our home, is to have a place for those things, for study, for creativity, for invention, for playing. So if you take a moment and define the purpose of your home, it might help you define your purpose of having a clean home, a clean, organized home. And those are just a couple reasons that come to mind for me. I also think it's just important to learn to take care of your things, right? I think it helps us be grateful for the things we have if we take care of them. And I think that's also another reason that I choose, that for me, to have a clean house. And like I've mentioned before, I do think it's really important to learn how to work. And a home is a natural place to learn that, because they are real, needful things that really do contribute. Because our kids don't need invented work to teach them to work, right? It's the real jobs that really add value to the family that really make the benefits of work come forth out of them. The feeling of contributing to the family, and the feeling of self-validation, and the feeling of perseverance and seeing a job well done. All of those are really wonderful and important for reasons for cleaning and organizing your home. But if we talk about the reason for our home, right? The reason for our home is to have that place where you can create and learn and build relationships and grow together as a family and grow individually. And the home culture needs to support that. So if it ever gets to the point when you're cleaning all the time and it feels out of balance, it probably is, right? I say trust your gut. Like, I know for me, I can feel when it's out of balance. I don't want my home culture to be about my home as much as I want my home culture to support my family culture, if that makes sense. I want the surroundings in my home to support the type of family culture that I want to cultivate in my home. And that's why I do the things that take care of the home. That's why I focus on the things of home culture. So it supports the family culture of togetherness, of kindness, of faith, of learning. It supports the family culture that I want. That's why I do the home culture. So what is it for you? Why do you want a clean house? And what level of clean is good enough for you? And what is the balance for you? And only you can figure that out. But I trust your gut, and you'll know when you reach that sweet spot for you. I'm still trying to find it. I actually think I know the sweet spot, but I'm not always living there. I am working on it though, and I'm in the sweet spot more often than I used to be, so we count progress, right? And one more thing, I guess, in this discussion on home culture supporting family culture, I think your stuff should support your family culture too. If you have too much stuff, it can actually get in the way, right, of a family culture or the culture that you want to develop in your home. So too much is not better, right? More is not better in this case. The right amount is the best amount. And finding that for yourself on your spectrum of minimalism versus lots of stuff, I don't know what that side's called, but on that spectrum of how much is the right amount of stuff, the right amount of stuff to clean and take care of, right? And the right amount of stuff to support your family culture, and to make it so that that home culture isn't overtaking the family culture, but it's a piece and support to the family culture. So if you missed any of the family work videos, I invite you to go back and watch those that I've put out this month on family work and learning how to work. I'll make it into a playlist and I'll link it below. So thanks for watching. Here's to you for instituting an intentional home culture in your home. You've got this.